First, let's take a little bit of water. This is your sign to hydrate as well. Hey boos, and welcome to my first ever video on this channel talking about my huge life update. I really thought there was no better way for me to announce this update and to, track my journey, document this journey for myself, sort of like a vlog style, and just to create more videos. I haven't created a video in a really long time, and I kind of miss it. I love still watching YouTube and everything, but I haven't been in the creative space of YouTube in quite a bit. And because this is a huge thing that I'm doing, I really want to make sort of a vlog diary for myself and maybe for you guys if you guys are interested in this update. So my huge life update is that right now I am living in my 1-bedroom apartment in Montreal, Canada, and I am moving to London. I'm so excited to move abroad. This will be my first big move. I've already moved a couple times within Canada, but London, I am calling for you. I'm heading towards you. And so yeah, I want to really document my journey of moving abroad for the first time at 26. And also I kind of want to just jump into maybe a little bit backstory, get to know each other a bit more. And yeah, so let's jump right in. Let's introduce ourselves, get to know each other a little bit more. My name is Jess, I'm 26, and I currently live in Montreal in this 1-bedroom apartment. I've loved this apartment ever since I moved in to this city, and I'm going to miss it a lot, but there's always bigger things coming. I need to remind myself about that. I went to college north of Toronto, and I already grew up in Southwest Ontario. So I'm Canadian, I've grown up in Ontario most of my life, and then I moved away to go to college, was there for 2 years, really loved my college experience, made amazing friendships, and I just had a really good time in college. And to complete my diploma and everything, I had to complete an internship. So that's when I decided to move from 2016 to 2018 to Toronto, because there's where I want to complete my internship so I could graduate. And after my internship sort of ended, I decided that I wanted to stay in Toronto. I love the big city. I'm a very city girl. I don't mind. I love outdoor stuff too, but from all my experiences, I know I like big cities. I like to live in big cities. I like when there's a place where there's a lot to do, a lot of cultural mixes to it. I like when a place is really diverse. That's just where I thrive the most. So yeah, I stayed in Toronto from like 2016 to 2018. Once my internship ended, I got a job. And I got a job working at a small agency that worked with musicians and the songs and promoted music to radio stations all across Canada. I also did a lot of social media content for the agency as well as for the musicians that we were working with. And that was a really cool experience. I got to go to a lot of cool events, saw a lot of live shows, met a lot of other creative people, obviously, when you're working with artists, musicians, all that stuff. And I love my boss. My boss was really cool. And so I did that for a while up until I kind of had really an urge for a change. I really wanted to learn more professionally, and even more of a, work for maybe a bigger company, but also the rent I was paying, it just seemed kind of like getting higher and higher for what I was getting. So I just decided to really look into maybe other cities I'd want to try to move to. So that's when I kind of came up on the idea of, hey, maybe I'll move to Montreal. So I decided to move to Montreal because it offered me a lot of job opportunities. I'm bilingual in French and in English. So definitely got a lot more callbacks, a lot more opportunities once I started looking for work in Montreal. And also I've always wanted, like, one of my goals and that I achieved was I've always wanted to live on my own, have my own place, my own apartment. And I got to do that because previously I always was living with either my parents, living with a lot of roommates and stuff like that. So this was my chance to actually move to Montreal, get a new job, get some more experience, and also move into a different province and be able to afford and live on my own. So in December 2018, I moved in to this 1-bedroom apartment, and the area I chose, well, there's 2 areas I was really liking, the Plateau and Hochelaga Rosemont. So I ended up finding this 1-bedroom apartment. It is perfect size for 1 person. And I just had the blast of, like, getting to decorate it how I like, putting loud music when I want to, doing whatever I want in my own apartment. So it was a really good experience. And what was really cool is my move here to Montreal. My family also moved down here with me. We already had some family in, the province of Quebec, and as well as some, inside the city. So it was really nice because I got to be closer to my family from this side of the country. And from there, I kept actually working with my other company that I was working with in Toronto. So I was still doing the work of promoting music to radio stations and working in the music business until I got a 9-to-5 job. It was my first 9-to-5, and a very big job because it was working for a fashion brand, and I ended up working for 2 fashion brands actually, and it was a 9-to-5 job working in SEO, SEM, a lot of marketing, and I was like a project manager, coordinator, and working with a lot of digital ads and things like that. So with that job, I learned a lot and I grew a lot professionally here in Montreal. I was working 2 jobs, almost working 9 to 9. It was a bit hectic. Definitely Montreal offered me a lot of growth professionally, but it didn't give me as much time, or I didn't give myself the time to be able to socialize more and just explore the city. I also lived here during the pandemic, when, like, the very intense part of the start and the end, not quite the end yet, but you know what I mean, of the pandemic. So, just working a lot here and things like that. So that all brings us back to right now, the present moment. I've lived here now from December 2018, and now we're in 2022. And I really have been thinking really hard about what do I want to do next? What do I want to do next? And, professionally, I think I gained a lot of experience. I gained a lot of life experience. Right now, I'm 26. And I feel more comfortable now exploring my idea, my goal to move abroad somewhere. So now we're getting to the part of the video where I can answer some of these questions. These are questions that were asked by my family and friends, and just some general questions that maybe you guys might have if you are also looking to move abroad as a Canadian, and what are your options if you want to do so. So let's get into these questions. Question number 1. Why are you moving to London? I'm moving to London because it's something I've always wanted to do. Not necessarily London as a city itself, but I've always wanted to move abroad. It is really evident to me that I want to move abroad and have that experience for myself, because all my life I've been watching or interacting with, or even I'm friends with people who have already lived abroad. People who share their experiences, and a lot of them that I was gravitating towards in the beginning, more culturally shocking, you could say, moving to places like Korea, to Japan, or even places in South America. But, after some thought, I realized maybe it's better for me and I'm more comfortable moving abroad somewhere where I know the language and I could probably get some work in the field that I enjoy, which is marketing and media in more of a professional, like, office job setting. I prefer that kind of work, and if I were to move abroad somewhere like South Korea probably, or other places, the type of work there would be a bit more I guess you just never know, but at the same time, I feel like in the beginning, the jobs end up getting are very like service jobs or teaching jobs. And I just don't see myself as being a good teacher or liking being a teacher very much, even though I know it's quite easier to do. But yeah, so that's why I'm moving to London, because I just want the experience. It's something I wanted for a long time, and I think it's a perfect place. It's a big city and it has a lot of opportunities for me there, and I'm just really looking forward to moving abroad alone and having this like experience. You know, I have a lot of work experience now, so I feel really confident in myself to be moving somewhere and to get a job, to, you know, all that stuff that goes along with it. Question number 2, are you going back to school? So for me, I actually really loved school, especially college, university. Obviously the social aspect is really fun and really exciting. I don't know how now that would be like, but I'm not going back to school, and I don't really have any plans to do that unless it was, I guess, a requirement from a job, or maybe I want to shift careers a little bit. I'm really a workforce gal. Like, I like to be in the workforce. So I'm moving to London, but I'm going into the workforce, and I'm not going back to school anytime soon. Question number 3, why are you moving now, and have you ever lived abroad before? I've never lived abroad before. I've moved, as I was telling you guys about my story, I moved a lot throughout this country, but I've never moved overseas. Why now? Because my clock was kind of ticking, in the sense that I kept putting it off. Like, no, I'm not going to move abroad now because I love this apartment. I like my job. I'm comfortable. I just want to stay here. Those were the thoughts that were running my head. And I just never pushed myself to do it or had the courage to do it. After some conversations with myself and also some of the people I work with who are also from France or abroad, really encouraged me that this was the time now to go and move abroad, do something new. Since you know, I'm single, I don't have any ties necessarily, that even though I really liked my job and my apartment and my friends and family here, I am in a good or better position, you could say, to move abroad. And I had saved up enough money to also sustain myself for however long I need until I find work over there. So the timing was just perfect for right now. What visa did you apply for? The visa that I got, it's called the Youth Scheme Mobility Visa, I'm pretty sure, or Youth Mobility. And what it does, it grants you up to 2 years to live in different countries. The main ones, I think, are the UK, Estonia, France, Sweden, Denmark. You could always look them up. I'm not, you know, working for them in any sense, so I don't really know unless you do your research. But there are quite a few European countries there that have this youth mobility visa. Grants you up to 2 years in that country. So I applied for the youth visa for the UK. So I could technically live, you know, in Scotland or in Ireland, you know, in England, things like that. So I had options with this. But up to 2 years, you have to be between the ages of 18 and 30. And this is why I applied, because being 26, by the time I got approved for this application, and it will grant me those 2 years. I think being over there between the ages of 26 to like 28 is a good age. And it also fits the part, you know, the eligibility parts of it. And you have to prove you have enough financially in your bank account. So you'll have to share your statements. I think it's equivalent of £2,500 that you have to have in your bank account in order for them to kind of assess the approval process, and for you to have a valid passport and that you're a Canadian resident. So those are the kind of requirements top of mind that I remember doing. It was a pretty good process. The only part that I was really had a lot of anxiety about was the fact that it was an easy process. Sure, you pay for your health insurance in advance, you pay for the application fees, you do sort of like an appointment. It's not really an interview, to do your biometrics. You take a picture, you take a bit of a scan of your fingerprints, you sign a couple documents, and the part of waiting to hear back if it was approved or not was quite stressful, because it seemed as though for Canadians applying to the UK mobility visa was the only one where they cannot give you any information. And I don't even know why still, especially when they tell you. And I was like shocked when I was at my appointment, when they basically told me that they'll get an answer if it's approved or not, and I'll get my passport back within 15 days, 2 weeks. So after hearing that and then not hearing anything, like no news for over a month, got me very nervous, because obviously I left my passport with them. Like, you can choose if you want to keep your passport, but you'll have to send it to them once they get an answer to put your visa inside your passport, and that has a lot of fees involved as well. But yeah, so that part was very nerve-wracking when, yeah, you want to travel for the summer, you want to do stuff. I have family in the States. I have, I had trips in mind that I want to do, and your passport is just not available. So keep that in mind for when you're applying to visas, what works for you, because that 15 days was not what happened for me in my case. And there's no way for you to know when it's coming, or if they have an update, or if they have your passport. So that part was a little bit, stressful, but nonetheless, it's much better than some other people in their journeys with getting visas. Next question. How long will you be in London for? So, this visa grants me up to 2 years. So I kind of want to use that up, and I want to be in London for 2 years. I'll be going kind of in the off season in the early spring. I think even when it's, early spring, winter. So from there, I'll be in London figuring things out, trying to find a flat, a shared flat, and also work over there. So up to 2 years, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to travel back to Canada to visit family and friends, things like that. But once I'm there, I am there. Next question. Are you nervous to be moving alone? Making friends will be hard. Am I nervous? A little bit, but my excitement is more than my nerves, So, and making friends, I feel like it's very similar to when you graduate high school, you're about to go to college or university, and I think everyone feels this way, where because you're going to a place you've never been, and you're going to be there for a while, you get super in your head about, am I going to make good friends there? Am I going to create a support system that makes me feel comfortable, makes me feel like myself? And so that does cross my mind, I'm sure. But one thing I just know is that, the friends that are meant to be in your life and the people that you're meant to connect with, it will happen. You do have to put yourself out there. It's not to say like you can't just sit around and make friends. Like, you need to make efforts. It's very true. You need to put yourself out there. You need to socialize. So I'm a little bit obviously nervous to see if I'm able to make really good friends over there, and also to but more so to put myself out there, because when you're too comfortable, I consider myself kind of like an ambivert. I'm not necessarily so extroverted, but I'm also not introverted that much. So, we'll just see what happens. But I'm a little nervous for it, sure, but I'm also excited to meet new people and to just have new adventures over there in London. And the other part to this question is, are you nervous to be moving alone? So I think actually in my head, when I wanted to move abroad for a number of years, I actually wanted to do it alone. I prefer to do it alone. I feel like there's nothing standing in my way except myself. I have a lot of confidence in myself that I can put in the hard work to try to find a job, try to get, you know, a really nice flat share, get a room that I can rent out. I think doing it alone is the best way for you to do it, especially if you're single, to just build your life up again. It's basically starting fresh, which is the scary part of it all. You know, of that nothing over there is going to be familiar. At least this is why I kind of feel good about the fact that I chose a country where I know the language really well, and I feel like it won't be as intense and isolating, like alienating, as if I were to go to like Asia somewhere, because I'm sure there's a lot of similarities to Canada and to England. So yeah, so I'm really excited, actually more than nervous, but you know, there's obviously going to be a bit of anxieties and nerves being alone abroad. What are you going to be packing? So I've been obsessed with watching packing videos. I'm actually a very good packer, and my friends know this, so they can vouch for me. I usually only do carry-ons, so this is going to be my first in a long time, having to pack. Basically, this is moving, this is not a trip. Packing essentials that make sense for me, and I'm gonna be moving in the winter spring, so I gotta think about you know, winter type of clothes. So I feel good about packing, but I am nervous to see how much stuff I'm actually gonna want to bring and what I'm gonna realistically bring with me. So in my head, I'm gonna pack what I bought myself, a really cool backpack. Gonna use that backpack, a really big luggage, like a check bag, and I might bring another carry-on. But at the same time, 3 pieces of luggage to me sounds like a lot, but because it's winter, spring, wardrobe, clothing, and I might pop in a few outfits for summer in there, just because I don't know when my mom or my friends will come see me and then maybe be able to bring something over for me. I'll probably pre-pack a box or a bag before I move that has summer stuff in it, so that if any of my family members or someone comes down to see me in London, I can get them to bring that with them so I can have more clothes. One thing I found, and I want to say about this, is that I looked into capsule wardrobes, but what's funny to me is capsule wardrobes just don't work for people who are mid-size, plus size, curvy, whatever you want to identify. But you know, me right now being a size really between a lot of sizes, between a size large to XX large to 14 to 16, sometimes 12, like it really depends. And capsule wardrobes just don't work for people who are bigger. Sorry, they just don't. Like, because even packing, like people who I've seen, like they're packing like a year's worth, or they're doing a semester abroad or something, they're able to pack a lot more clothes because their clothes are either they're also packing for not winter. But you know, when you're a bigger person, your clothes are also bigger. And also I'm a tall person, so a lot of my, you know, shoes and have broad shoulders, a lot of my jackets and stuff, like they are quite bulky items. So that will really quickly, you know, take space in my luggage. So I plan to bring more clothes and stuff than what normally I would bring if it was just a short trip, like a carry-on type of situation, because I don't want to be stuck in Europe, in London, having not really any clothes or things that fit me correctly, and having to go out and look for them, because shopping is not always easy necessarily. And also it might be more expensive, because by the time I even find an item I like and that works, it might be, I don't know, like 40 pounds or something, or more, I don't know, 100 pounds. So yeah, so I'm really looking into ways to do a capsule wardrobe with the clothes I have. I've bought in a few items since then to add to the wardrobe, but you know, I'm gonna have a lot of luggage, to be honest. So yeah, so when I'm packing, we'll see. I might do a video on my packing in the future when I get to that point. But otherwise, I love packing, I love organizing. But I just thought I would mention that I didn't find any content online for, capsule wardrobes for people in bigger bodies, plus size bodies, mid-size bodies. And I do think that it's something that I know I kind of realized is that sometimes there's not content that you're looking for, I guess, on YouTube or TikTok, Instagram, things like that. And I really do think that it is just harder to, pack sometimes, or pack lightly when you can barely find clothes that work for you, that's your style, that fit you, that are available. And, it's not realistic to bring practically nothing or be able to pack everything in a small carry-on bag. So yeah, just my little thing I wanted to talk to you guys about. There's two last questions. Are you going to be traveling while you're over there? The answer is yes, because I haven't been to Europe since 2015. I loved my 2015 trip. It was the first time I went and the last time I've ever been, and I went to 6 or 7 different European countries. I also have friends that live in different parts of Europe, so I'm really excited to reconnect and see them. So I'm looking forward to traveling across the UK. So I want to go to Edinburgh in Scotland, maybe some cities in Ireland. I'm going to be obviously visiting London, but I would love to go back to Germany, to Belgium as well. Maybe I'll go back to Italy, and then I want to actually try to go see more of the more Nordic, Eastern, as well as Eastern European countries. Right now, obviously, Eastern Europe is not very stable right now. So right now, I'm gonna be just looking into exploring the UK, possibly, Germany, France again, and maybe Sweden, Denmark, things like that. So I'm really excited to travel, but I'll just do a little bit of time because obviously it's expensive to live in London. So there's only so much I can do at a time, but I'm really looking forward to visiting again. And that leads me to the last question, that isn't it expensive to live in London? So the answer is yes. I've already started to look at flat shares. So basically what I've been seeing is what I pay now for my 1-bedroom apartment in Montreal, that includes everything except hydro, which adds just another like $50 per even 2 months. So let's say it's $30 a month. I basically, if you round everything up, pay $900 for this 1-bedroom apartment, including everything in Montreal. And in pounds, basically the range goes from £600 to £950, sometimes including bills, sometimes excluding, that are just for one room in a flat share. Sometimes they're double rooms, sometimes they're single rooms, but I am definitely gonna be having to increase my rent, and possibly food bills, and going out, traveling, things like that. So I need to be mindful about saving money right now. I've saved quite a bit of money in the last 2 years. So this kind of allowed me and made me feel a bit more secure about making this move. And London is expensive. It's like going to New York City or something like that, or LA. So you gotta prepare for those things. So I've been doing a bit of my budgeting on my Excel spreadsheets, getting things prepared, being mindful about what I spend now. So that's why I made the decision to move in with my mom for a couple months before I decide to move away, so I could save a bit of money on rent. So that is everything I wanted to talk about in my first ever video for this start of this journey. And thank you guys so much for tuning in to my video. If you guys want to follow me, you can follow me on Instagram at jamfashionista and see me on there posting about my journey and moving abroad, things like that. As well as, if you guys didn't know, I have a podcast that I hope to continue working on. It's kind of a side project and a hobby. Nothing too serious, just a really fun girl talks over there, different subjects. It's called Daydreams and Tea, and you can listen on Spotify, Apple Music, Apple Podcasts, and everywhere you listen to your podcast. I started it in August 2020, and yeah, it's just a lot of fun. So check out Daydreams and Tea as well. Thanks a lot, you guys. Catch you in the next video. Have a good one, everyone. Bye.